Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala man ba'd. So I've been getting a lot of complaints, is the right word? I don't know, that I don't have enough Q&A. And so by popular demand today, we will literally just have Q&A, and whatever questions you asked, inshallah, and got upvoted, those are the questions that are in front of me. So Bismillah, let us begin. So the first question, what is one piece of advice I would give to 20 to 30-year-olds that would also be a benefit to other young Muslims trying to sort out their lives, specifically from the following three perspectives? Number one, religious. Number two, family and parents. Number three, worldly perspective as young professionals. So I like this question. It's a very good question. And my dear younger brothers and sisters, or if you think I'm too old for that, nephews and nieces, whatever you consider me to be, this is a good question because it shows humility. It shows that you understand that you can benefit from those that have traversed through your age demographics. As my kids can quote me so many times, I know how you feel. I've been in your shoes. You haven't been in mine. So benefit from those who are older than you, even if they speak with an accent. It's okay. They have more wisdom than you. They have traversed life. They have more experiences than you. So I appreciate this question. Let us begin with this. Three paradigms you asked me: religious, family, and worldly. Religious. My advice to all of you is to prioritize yourself and judge yourself rather than prioritizing others and judging others. My advice to you is be humble and concentrate on your own tazkiyah, your own ilm, your own akhlaq. Do not worry about the rest of the world as much as you worry about yourself. One of the biggest issues of being young is you consider it your business to take on other people's business. And that is not wise. You need to change yourself before you can change the world. Begin with yourself and be more judgmental on yourself than on other people. Be humble and understand that what to you at 20 is black and white, totally normal. When you're 40, 50, that same issue will have many different nuances. This is human nature. So now, religious advice, concentrate on yourself rather than others. Family advice. I'm going to divide this into two categories. Family in terms of blood and family in terms of spouse. Family in terms of blood, obviously parents is the main issue here. Again, to be very blunt with you all, don't be too hasty to grow up, because when you do grow up, you are going to miss being young. Every one of us is impatient when we're 20 because our parents are restrictive on us. And a time will come, if Allah blesses you, that your parents will become like children and you will be the adults in that relationship. And when that happens, it's not a nice switch. You will greatly miss and regret the good old days. When your parents do become of an age where they need your help, it's a very different world. And it's not a world that anybody looks forward to. So enjoy those days. Don't be too hasty to grow out of it. And every one of us, without exception, we have our regrets when it comes to family and things we've done and whatnot. That's just the reality. The goal is to have minimal regrets. The goal is you should have minimal regrets. Have as clean a conscience as possible with your parents, with your relatives, because realistically, statistically, a time will come when they will not be there and you will be there. That is statistically the norm. When you will not have the support of two people who at this stage of your life, you don't view them as support, frankly, you view them as sometimes being a nuisance. It's human nature, that is what it is. But when they're not there for you, far from being a nuisance, there will be a sense of emptiness that nothing will be able to fill. So don't be too hasty in that phase of your life as well, and control your tongue. You can't control your emotions. You can't control your frustration. Just control your tongue, because your emotions are not going to get you into trouble, but your tongue and your actions will. So be patient. I know it's frustrating when you're 20, 21, 22. I get it. I've been there. Be patient. It's just a matter of time before you will be set free, before you will be a full adult, before nobody will have any rules on you. And yes, you'll enjoy it for a few years. But then when the situation begins to change, and when you become the adult, and when the adults must be treated like children, must be taken care of, then the whole dynamics changes. So don't be too hasty to get there, and enjoy it. And it's inevitable, the cycle of life. This is what Allah says in the Quran, that, هو الذي خلقه من ضعف ثم جعل بعد ضعف قوة ثم جعل بعد قوة ضعفا وشيبة. Allah talks about the cycle of life. You begin weak, then you become strong, and then you become weak and feeble. Literally, this is in the Quran. So when you're in that weak and strong middle, which is what you are in right now, there's that eagerness to get to the strong phase. But subhanAllah, when you get to the strong phase, the people that were in the strong phase become in the weak and feeble, right? And so you're going to have to be strong for them. And then the cycle of life, before you know it, the twinkling of an eye, and you will be in that phase as well. So advice for family when it comes to parents is, it is the cycle of life. Just be patient, control your tongue, and navigate day by day. Don't be too hasty. When it comes to spouses, I already said this to you multiple times, that not to terrify or scare you, but this is the single most important decision you will make of your lives, without any exception other than a person choosing to convert to Islam or not. That's the biggest decision. After that, if you're a Muslim, the biggest decision that will affect your deen and dunya is your choice of partner. So be very careful, pray istikhara, look for the bigger and deeper factors, not superficial factors. And there is always a trust, there's always a leap of faith that has to be done. So that's the advice when it comes to family. Final advice, you said, worldly perspective as a young professional. I advise you like my father advised me when I was a teenager, and I thank him for that advice. When it comes to the dunya, invest in stocks and real estate. You are never too young. Actually, you should invest right now. Invest in mutual funds and stocks, and real estate is a bit too difficult at this stage unless Allah has blessed you. But even when you're able to, start with real estate. Mutual funds. There are halal mutual funds, and there's the SPUS, which is the halal 500. Every one of you should have a quick crash course on the importance of investing, especially Roth IRAs at your age. When you're 18, to invest 10,000, every single year. Or actually, the max is 7,000 right now, right? If you were to invest 7,000, which is the max Roth IRA, every single year, beginning from 18, guaranteed you will be a multimillionaire by the time you retire. In contrast, if you were to invest 100,000 by the time you're 50, every single year, you would not be a multimillionaire when you retire. Investing 7,000, beginning at 18, in a good Roth IRA, good halal, and I encourage all of you as an elder, if you're 18, open up a Fidelity or Vanguard account immediately and start putting in. If you only have 500 a month, put in 500 a month. 200 a month, put in 200 a month. That 200 will become, no exaggeration, do the math, 15,000, 20,000 by the time you retire. Do the math. So take a crash course in the basics of halal investing. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there. Frankly, I don't mind if you want. I have investments in mutual funds and stocks and Bitcoin and real estate. I have this because as my father said to me, mashallah, may Allah bless him and preserve him, he put this in my mind, that you don't want to work for money, you want your money to work for you. The goal of life is not money. You need bigger things to do, but you need money to live. So you need to be earning money when you're sleeping, when you're conversing, when you're playing. And you will never earn money when you're doing that if you're working a 9-to-5 job. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, you will only earn money 9 to 5. You need to start passive income. So that's my advice to all of you. It doesn't matter. I have another mentor as well in the business world. He said to me, he came, like most Muslims that came here with nothing. Now he's, mashallah, in the top 5-10%. Actually, sorry, top 0.5%. He said to me a profound statement 20 years ago. He said, this country is one of the only countries in the world where anybody who really strives and struggles can live a good, dignified, middle-class life. Anybody just puts in the hours, puts in work, you can live a middle-class life. But, he said, if you're smart, anybody can go to upper middle class. And a few can go to the top 5 or 10% or 1%. Not that that should be a goal necessarily. The goal is not to be filthy rich. But definitely the goal is to have wealth to benefit yourself and the ummah. That is without a doubt a goal. You should have wealth to live comfortably and to benefit the ummah. The ummah needs wealth. So my advice to you for the dunya is do not delay figuring out alternative means of income besides your 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 remains. That's your backbone. That's your standard. You need that. That's how everybody, unless you're super smart or you're born into super wealth. There's only 2 exceptions, and there are always exceptions, right? Or you're super lucky. That's not, you don't bank on that, right? So if you are, Steve Jobs, and you can build things in your own backyard, in your own, garage that are going to change the world, yeah, sure, Bismillah, do that. Or if you are inheriting millions from your parents, then yes, you start businesses at 18, 19. Or if you're super entrepreneur, you want to start something, yeah, there are people like that as well. Otherwise, the default, us average folks, you have the 9 to 5, you do the 9 to 5, but along with that, you're smart in saving and investing. This is my advice to you at 18, at 19. I don't mind telling you this. I actually started investing not at 18, at 16. I started investing at 16. And the mutual fund that I invested in, I still have that exact same mutual fund to this day. That exact same one. And of course, I have much more than that, but I'm saying, yeah, so I advise you to that. So those are the first question. Hope that's of use, inshallah. Jayyid. Next question. You thought I would do 2 minutes each. I'm sorry. Once you ask me a question, well, this one is going to be super easy. I found this funny. Does the Shaykh use AI in his research? If so, I'm curious, what kind of questions does he quiz AI with? No, I do not use AI for Islamic research. However, once in a while, I will use AI. I use ChatGPT sometimes to summarize for me philosophical concepts. I say, how should I phrase this idea for an undergraduate level? For example, I'll say that. Yeah. But I personally don't rely on ChatGPT for anything Islamic, simply because I have done a number of quizzes on ChatGPT, and I found it to be correct sometimes and incorrect other times. So for me personally, I don't, when I give you my Islamic content, I just don't believe in it. Not that there's any bragging or boasting. I actually don't believe, as of yet, ChatGPT is worthy to be trusted. If a time comes when it is worthy to be trusted, I don't mind using it. I use references of encyclopedias and whatnot, but I have personally, I remember putting in a question, and it made a very big blunder about ascribing an opinion to another sheikh, another alim. And I know, and I made I checked it again, and it was mistaken. So that's a big blunder. Can you imagine if I said, oh, and Sheikh so-and-so says this? I mean, a classical scholar, right? That's a major blunder. And so I have discovered this myself. Like I just, once in a while you're bored, you just do stuff in. But I've also seen that sometimes it does very interesting things. So because of this, I am not somebody who uses it for my actual research, but sometimes for the humanities, the Western humanities. I think that because it has a larger repository in the Western world, I think it might do a good job of simplifying concepts that are difficult, abstract. I think that might be a good job. So yes, I do use it sometimes for that, but even then, I'm not satisfied with the output fully. So I always, if I were to do that, I always modify and put it in my own language. So yeah, generally speaking, I'm not a big user